Welcome back to Boots and Bounty Homestead. We're back in Casey's kitchen today, and I'm going to bring you an Instapot recipe. This is going to be for sweet potato and black beans chili. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but I found this recipe last year and my family loved it. So I wanted to make it again for you guys as a quick and easy meal that can either contain meat or it could be meatless. You can put in rice, or you can put in quinoa, you can put in pretty much whatever. And if you don't have black beans, you can also use kidney beans or pinto beans, white beans, doesn't matter, whatever you have on hand. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you what ingredients we need and then show you how to put it all together. So firstly, I went ahead and chopped up one medium onion. Next, I'm going to fast forward this and go ahead and get this big bad boy peeled and diced up. Be right back. Okay, so we've got our onions all chopped up and our potato all ready to go. Now all we need to do is go get our Instapot. I'm going to set you up on the stove so you can look down in here and see what's happening inside the Instapot as I add all the ingredients. And I will tell you what I'm adding as I add them, and all the amounts will be down in the description below. So to begin on my Instapot, we are going to turn the Saute button on and let that be preheating. So while the Instapot is warming up, we're going to go ahead and put in about a tablespoon of any kind of oil to your choosing. I like to use olive oil. It's about a tablespoon. It's going to coat the bottom really well. When your oil gets hot enough, we're going to go ahead and add the chopped onion. We're going to stir this around to coat all of the onions in the oil in the bottom. Now these are going to saute for a few minutes until they become translucent. This is going to take probably about 5 minutes or so. So keep your eye on it, keep it stirred, and go ahead and get the rest of the ingredients out that you need. So our onions have become translucent. They're starting to soften up some. We're going to go ahead and add the next ingredient, which is going to be 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. Now, you don't want to add this too early because your garlic can burn. So I'm just going to put a couple of tablespoons in here. And this is completely to your liking. I'm just telling you what the recipe says. 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. I'm going to use about 2 tablespoons. Let this cook for just a minute. While that sits there for a second, we're going to go ahead and measure out our next ingredient, which is going to be 1 tablespoon of chili powder. We're going to do 1 teaspoon of cumin. And if these spice amounts aren't enough for you and your family, you can always change them. Don't worry about that. And then just a dash of cayenne pepper. You can add salt and pepper at this point. And stir this all up. Go ahead and cut your Saute Instapot portion off. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and add in the rest of the ingredients, which is going to be our sweet potatoes, a cup and a half of water or some kind of broth, and of course right back here you see there's a pot there. I'm cooking chicken broth, but I have a little bit extra out of some that I made the other day. I'm going to go ahead and use that. And it does have some seasonings in the bottom, like rosemary and salt and pepper and some onions. I'm going to shake that up and get that distributed and use that. So about 1.5 cups of that. And next is going to be our beans. And I have some home canned black beans that I'm going to use. And then I have some pinto beans that I actually got on clearance. I'm going to use those as well because I only have 1 jar of the black beans left. So let's go ahead and pour those in here. We've got to drain them and rinse them. Alright, in goes our pinto beans and black beans. And then next, I'm going to use a can of my rotel that I make. The recipe down below, I'm going to type it up as the original recipe as I found it. And it is going to say 1 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes, or you can use like the fire roasted tomatoes, and also 1 14-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Well, what I'm going to use is 1 16-ounce jar of my canned rotel, and I'm also going to add to it, it's about an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. I'm going to go ahead and add that in there just for the juice and for the color to make it a chili. And let's go ahead and pour this in. This is whatever you have in your pantry. You use what you have. Okay. Give this a little stir. Incorporate the spices. And let me get that tomato sauce. Now I also want to show you, this is my homemade tomato sauce, and I was making this, if you guys been following me very long, I just did a video about the green tomatoes ripening in the house. Now as these have been ripening, I've been making tomato sauce out of them and canning them. So this is part of that I'm going to be using in here as well. Okay, let's stir it up. Okay, now you see it's under the water now. It's right up to level. That's where we want it. We want it to be covered. So I have checked, and my ring and gasket and everything is on correctly. I'm going to put my top on, close it, and then we are going to turn it on to manual or pressure cook, depending on what yours has as for options. Mine says pressure cook, some of them say manual. And we're going to turn this down to 5 minutes. Does not take long at all for this to cook. And then we've got to make sure that it is sealed back here. It's in the sealed position. Some of them may be in the middle, some of them may be towards the back. So just make sure that you have yours in the sealed position, not the venting position. And then we wait. So once this has reached the 5 minutes and has beeped and it is down to 0, it is good to go. We're going to let it sit there for 5 to 10 minutes, let it naturally release, and then after 5 to 8, 10 minutes, if you happen to forget, that's okay. Just come by here and we're going to go ahead and open up and go ahead and vent the rest of the steam out to make sure that it doesn't overcook the potatoes, because we don't want them to be absolutely mushy. So after 5 to 8 minutes or so, go ahead and manually release the vent, and I'll show you what I mean when we get there. So while that's cooking in the Instapot, I'm going to go ahead and brown up some of our ground deer meat, and I'm going to add that to that once the Instapot is done, and we go ahead and see what it looks like and everything. I'm going to pour that in there, and then we're going to get it plated up. So to this here, I have 1 pound of our ground venison or deer that Emma has hunted this year. And you can do this in a 1 pot. I just like to do mine separately. And you can also do this in the Instapot whenever you saute your onions. You can go ahead and saute your meat. I just like to add mine at the end of cooking, just because some people may not want meat in theirs and some people might. So I cook this separately, and then I add it at the end for anybody that wants meat. Alright guys, so we have been sitting here natural releasing for 5 minutes. You go ahead and open up the release valve very slowly, and I have a trick to put a towel over the vent so it doesn't splatter on you or splatter all over your cabinets. So you can go ahead and flip that open. Just be careful not to get burned, and then let that naturally finish releasing pressure. Alright, let's see what she looks like. Remember to open it away from you, so that way it doesn't, all the steam doesn't come up in your face. Nice and thick. Look at that. Everything is perfectly cooked. Let's go ahead and add our meat at this time, because everybody here wants their meat. Okay, get it stirred up. Kids' laughter and playing in the background. So here's what it looks like in the pots. Alright, let's get it served up in some bowls. Alright guys, here is our sweet potato black bean soup done in the Instapot. Now, if you would like to do this in a regular pot, you can. You'll just have to cook your potatoes after you saute your onions and stuff. You'll just have to cook your potatoes in the liquid, and then you can add your beans towards the end. Let that simmer for another 30 minutes or so just to let those flavors marry, and then all you have to do is enjoy. So try this. See, let me know if you have to add any seasonings or spices, or if you do something different with yours. Let me know. Maybe I can try yours too. So on this, you can put any kind of toppings that you would like. You could put any kind of chives or sour cream, cheese, whatever your little heart desires. So you just go ahead and try it till your heart's content. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you next time. Bye guys.